And away we go. Hello and welcome to another edition of the College Football Mafia Network Big Freaking Friday Show. I'm your host, Nathan Balmer Brown. With me is one of my two partners in crime. That would be Moen. How we doing today, Moen?
Doing well. How about yourself, sir?
I'm doing okay. Just got back from my not physical therapy, massage therapist, and that went well. So yeah, I'm having a good day. Wild Ute will be joining us in a little bit. And today's show will be all about previewing the game tonight, the college football playoff, where we have Texas playing Ohio State. And at least in this house around here, we think Ohio State's going to thump them. But that's going to be a good show to sort of preview. Also, we'll review the game that happened last night, which was an amazing overtime thriller. Notre Dame beat Penn State. And boy, I was super impressed with where Notre Dame has come from the middle of the season and where they're currently at now. So we'll talk about that and anything else that sort of comes up for us tonight as we get going. Make sure you follow both of us, and once you gets on, follow all three of us on Twitter. Make sure you subscribe to this channel on YouTube and turn on your notifications. That way you know not only when we're doing our tweets on Twitter or X, whatever, and then you also know when our shows pop up on YouTube. So turn on those notifications, hit that bell, make sure you know what we're doing and when we're doing it. Give us a thumbs up. That's a really big thing. Doesn't cost you anything. Hit the thumbs up, and that'll help us quite a bit. And last but not least, consider becoming a member of the College Football Mafia family. How do they do that, Mon?
To become a member, leave a super chat or a super sticker. You're going to scroll down to the bottom of the chat window there. You'll see the little dollar sign. Click on the dollar sign. Make Moen happy. Become a member. Leave a super chat. Leave a super sticker. New members only video up from Wild Ute University, covering the G6 viewership numbers. Yeah, lots of good stuff. It's a rather long video, but yeah, he basically covers everything regarding the G6, the viewership model, and how they do. So I would definitely recommend checking it out if you are a member, and if you're not a member, consider becoming a member in order to check that out.
Let me show everybody where they can find that on our main screen, just so there's no questions about it. You go to our main College Football Mafia page. Let me bring it up. Our main College Football Mafia page, and you click this little membership button, and that will take you to all the member videos, and they continue to grow. Recently, we had this G6 viewership that was not only Wild Ute, but also Daniel Kopp. Daniel came in and helped us with that. We really appreciate that. And then Wild Ute has done a viewership analysis, the milking, of course, of college football and where that works for bigger conferences and how they eat their own. And then it goes down from there. Should college football have a commissioner? La, 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 la. So all the way down. And yeah, it's good stuff. So the library continues to grow as we move into the off season. It will just get bigger and bigger. Where you got a lot of news items that are going to be coming in the next coming weeks. We have more realignment stuff. Something's got to happen with the ESPN deal with ACC. It needs to be renewed, extended, whatever. Then we have realignment and then House versus NCAA if that gets ratified. Just the limit, the limit to the news items coming down the pike are really. I don't see a limit on that right now. Moen, right out the gate, we've got Ricky Tungate has gifted a membership.
Thank you, Ricky. That membership went to Mr. Ed Wayner. You were gifted a membership by Ricky Tungate. If you're here in the chat, Mr. Ed, make sure you thank Ricky for that. Ricky, we thank you for that, and we think it's legitness.
That was legitness. Yeah, it was. Huh?
Thank you so much, Ricky. By the way, Mr. Ed Wayner actually on Twitter, before the playoffs even started, he picked Ohio State versus Notre Dame in the championship game.
There you go. There you go. I love it. I love it. I love when everybody's sort of on top of what's going on day to day. And certainly in this college football playoff era, those predictions matter. So that's cool. Congratulations, Mr. Ed Wayner. By the way, if you receive a membership or you're just in a giving mood like Ricky is, consider paying it forward and giving somebody else a membership if you're currently a member. And if you're not a member but you'd like to be generous, you can also make those gift donations, and people will pick them up and get into our library. That's what we do. That's what the membership videos are. And yeah, we appreciate that. Thank you very much, Ricky. We appreciate you and everything you do for us. Certainly you being a long-term member of the Mafia family, we really appreciate it. All right, let's do some shout outs. Let's get to some hellos as we move into this new year. Lots of shows we've had this week, but this is our big freaking Friday show, so let's have some fun. Stephen Vitt checking in saying, hey guys, I'm early for a change. Hey, Stephen, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Big Lubbock is second, checking in. Hello, Big Lubbock. Good to see you. Yeah, Big 12's got some work to do in this offseason for sure. Immaculate checking in. He's got his eyeballs. He's definitely watching all those news items, all the new controls or non-controls of the NCAA, the legislative part of it, and then all the controls associated with everything that's happening in college football. Some of the ideas that are being put out there right now. Do we need a commissioner? Does there need to be collective bargaining? What's happening with the lawsuits that are being dropped, even though a lot of them were won? It's just a crazy offseason, and certainly Immaculate's on top of that. Jackson Johnson, good to see you, Jackson. What's up, College Football Mafia Nation? Good to see you, Jackson. Let's see. Big Lubbock says, horns down, baby. Yeah, I think in this area, probably not a lot of people are cheering for Texas. Nathan Campbell checking in saying, hey, guys, good to see you. Let's see. Scroll down to get some more. Bob Swinger, another member of the Mafia family. Penn State lost last night, Bob. Sorry about that. I'm not sure that we could have had a better game. Moen, what'd you think about that performance last night?
Well, listen, I have to be upfront and honest with you. Full disclosure, I had Penn State. I had the money line, and I had the under. At halftime, I was absolutely ecstatic. There were only 13 points.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, this is in the bag. This is in the bag. And the fourth quarter, 31 points get scored.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't think there was anything other than the fact that apparently Penn State has no wide receiver.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I don't understand that, but listen. I kind of posted it on Twitter. I disagree with the way James Franklin handled the end of that game.
Absolutely.
The clock was running down. It was like 50 seconds. He took a timeout.
I think it was like 35 seconds when he threw
it was something like that. He took a timeout, get the punt with the intent of driving 50-plus yards to get into field goal range. If you guys don't have a receiver that's catching balls, I mean,
they have an all-world tight end. That guy needs to be in the NFL, but they had no wide receivers last night.
So I mean, you're not going to rush for 50 yards. Tyler Warren might get lucky, but they double covered him.
Yeah,
you're only inviting disaster at that point, and disaster struck. Their disaster struck. He threw that interception, and he threw an interception right in field goal range. So I think the better course of action. And I'm not just one of those guys saying hindsight's 2020. I've got witnesses. I said it at the time. Don't be aggressive. Go to overtime. In overtime, you guys start at the 25-yard line. I think Penn State would have the advantage.
Did you watch my analysis last night? That is word for word what I said last night on that short with you.
Yeah, well, no, I had a disagreement with. I was watching the game with my brother, and my brother's like, "You've got to be aggressive."
No,
I said, "You don't. You really don't. I mean, especially if you don't have the receivers to push the ball down the field."
And that running back they have is a beast to tackle. So if you only have 25 yards, I would take your chances getting into the end zone with running plays and passes to your tight end.
Listen, I got to put it on Franklin. I'm not putting it on the players.
I think it's the OC, but
Abdul Carter, absolute stud, playing out there with one arm.
One arm, yeah. His left was completely in a shoulder sling.
He was getting held consistently.
Yep.
And he was still making plays. So I don't want to take anything away from the Penn State players. Congratulations to Notre Dame. Good job for them. I'm happy for Marcus Freeman. Ohio State alum, by the way. They had to get somebody from Ohio State to get him to the national title game. But no, I'm happy. wish them well. Congratulations to them. But I think Penn State had that game in the bag, and they just bad coaching decision, and that's just been the history of James Franklin. He'll do so well, and then he'll just make one poor coaching decision in a game that absolutely kills him.
He is 1-15 versus the top 5 teams in the nation. Maybe he's 1-16 now with losing last night. It's crazy. He has Ryan Day syndrome, and got to win those big games. Got to. Beating SMU is not a big game. So,
yeah,
I
mean,
just
they
don't know
had
what
the easiest.
to say about it.
They did have the easiest path. Let's just probably both those schools had the easiest path. Notre Dame and Penn State. Georgia, great defense, but they had a freshman quarterback in there. He wasn't going to do much of anything. And then Indiana was Indiana. So,
well, we'll find out how it all turns out at the end of the day. Penn State makes it to the Final Four. That's something they can put up on a board somewhere. Won a couple games in the CFP. That's another bragging point. But they need some major overhaul. Drew Aller played decent, but again, they can't get the ball down the field to wide receivers. It's tough to win big games if you can't break it out over the top. All right.
Yeah, and I think they have to go in the portal. They have to get some receivers in there.
Yeah,
they brought Drew Aller back. Drew Aller's coming back next season.
Right.
Tyler Warren will not be coming back next season.
Right.
You've got to get some receivers in there.
All right, let's move on. Anyway, Bob, good to see you. Good evening, everyone, is what Bob said. Thanks for being a member and your valuable friendship. We really appreciate it. Antoine Coates checking in. Another member of the Mafia family, always representing Arizona State in the Big 12. Hey, y'all, go Devils. Good to see you, Antoine. Let's see here. Jackson Johnson, I think he said hi earlier, but good evening, Bob Swinger. Sorry about the loss to Notre Dame. Okay. Ryan Willie, PSU choked. Okay. Ryan, Big Ten.
I love you, Ryan, but I don't think they choked. I think they played as well as they could. I just think they were hampered by play calling.
All right. Rock and Rant, contributor extraordinaire. Appreciate you being here, Rock, on a Friday night. Please end the SEC tonight, Moen. Shut up if needed.
No, he said suit up if needed.
Oh, suit up.
So I should fly to Dallas and be a 300-pound obstacle of some sort.
Thank you for correcting me. I appreciate it. Yeah. Suit up if needed. Okay. Let's see. We'll scroll down here. I want to make sure we get all new. Here's another one from the Illini Ted, another valuable member of the Mafia family. Hey, guys, let's go Buckeyes. So Big Ten circling the wagons, cheering for Ohio State. And one more here from Immaculate. And then we can break down the game last night a little bit in greater detail. Immaculate, I think, PSU, meaning Penn State, has some significant injuries too that seem to hamper some of their players. I didn't see that. May be true, and I don't know if they had opt-outs either. But everybody has those challenges. Every one of these teams is fighting injuries. I find it hard to excuse. If you're in the semifinals of the CFP, you just have to suit up with what you got. I think anything else you say is an excuse.
Yeah, and the other thing, talking about it, Notre Dame clearly made halftime adjustments, and I don't know what Penn State did. They got going a little bit in the second half, but defensively, just that first drive, they got dominated all the way down the field on that first drive.
Well, I put out a tweet and deleted it after the third quarter that said Penn State was just going to roll over and pancake Notre Dame. That's what it looked like in the first quarter. They couldn't tackle the running back, and that number 44 is a Superman at tight end. I didn't think they needed wide receivers, frankly. I thought they'd rush for 300 yards. And then, like you said, Notre Dame made some adjustments in the second half, and let's give Marcus Freeman credit where credit's due. He is a defensive coach. That's where his background is at. So I think the fact that he made adjustments to come back and win that game, we should have expected almost, don't you think?
Yeah, but it just seemed that coming out of the half, Penn State was a little flat-footed.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, maybe. Let's They're both wearing cleats. They both have uniforms on. They're both playing in the same field with the same time off. So I don't know. I don't know if I buy those excuses. Glenn Lumen checking in all the way from the Philippines. We are international around here for the Mafia Network. We appreciate you checking in. Hope everything's well with you, Glenn. Happy New Year all the way over there in the Philippines. Good to see you. No SEC in the finals. All right. So right now, and I think that's going to be the last comment I read for shout outs. Moen, I want you to put up or could you please put up a poll and let's see what the people that are watching us right now, who they cheering for, Ohio State or Texas. I kind of think I know this is going to be I'm going to guess it's 75-25 at the end of the day, but everybody vote and pick. Who do you want to win tonight? Do you want Texas to win or do you want Ohio State to win? Both of them are top 5 brands in all of college football, so it's not like one of them's an underdog. And I'm really curious who's cheering for who. So I'm going to say 75% of the people are going to be picking Ohio State. Moen, what do you think about that estimation?
You're probably right. I mean, there's a lot of people who Texas is just a reviled team in general.
That's true.
Regardless of their conference affiliation. Listen,
Yeah.
Everybody in the Big 12 has a reason to hate Texas.
Yep.
A lot of people in the Pac-12 have a reason to hate Texas.
Yep.
People in the Big 10 have a reason to hate Texas.
Well, it's easy to hate Texas. Just say it out loud.
It is.
Yeah.
and then you've got people in the SEC who don't like Texas.
That's
right.
Right.
Texas is just an incredibly unlikable team. I'm not saying Ohio State is by far away Mr. Congeniality and Mr. Popularity, but when compared to that, it's not hard to look like the good guys.
All right, everybody, go and vote. We're gonna let that run for a little while, and at maybe in the middle of the show, we'll look and see. Moen, how easy is it for people to vote?
Just you got to click on a button. That's it.
Tell them how to do it.
Okay, you've got a mouse. It's looks like one of these.
Okay.
Computer mouse.
Okay.
You operate that by rolling it on the desk or table or mouse pad, wherever you are.
Okay.
You aim the little pointer over top of the thing that says vote.
Hey.
Sorry. You roll it over there on top of the little thing that says vote. And then you click vote.
Oh, there you
There's
go.
2 options. Option A is the good guys in scarlet and gray.
There you go.
Option B is the bad guys in burnt orange.
All righty. There we go. You answer a question for me really quick. I always thought it was silver. Is it gray? Because it looks silver.
Scarlet. It's okay. The team colors are scarlet and gray.
Really?
Yes.
So the fact that the
helmets are
look
they're metal
sparkly.
Flake. They're metal flake gray.
Okay. All right. Because they look silver.
Yes. That's
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Haas Outdoors and Wildlife. There's a great name. He wants OSU to win. Good to have you here, Haas. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Twitter. And get involved with the Mafia family. This is what we do, not just about previews for the playoff, but we cover all of college football in our off seasons where we have the most fun. So make sure you hit that subscribe button on the YouTube main page. And then also, if you have the time, give us a thumbs up, maybe leave us a comment, question, and get involved because we do a lot around here and we appreciate you being here tonight. So it looks to me, well, let's get a couple more comments. Hummus Hero, another Ohio State fan in the house. Horns down, Bucks up, OH.
IO.
All right. See, I'm starting to work this stuff out. Good to have you here, Hummus Hero. Thanks for being here tonight. Let's see here. So we have dueling comments. I'm not sure where the other one went. But Bob Swinger says Riley Leonard played very well. In my opinion, I think Riley Leonard played a pretty good game except for that last pick. Then earlier in the comments, somebody said that he played poorly. What is your evaluation of the way he played overall?
He won. I mean, as much as you hate to say it, he was a game manager a lot.
Right.
But you're right. That second, when he threw that second pick, I thought, okay, game's over.
It looked bad.
Points.
Yeah.
That's it. It's done. But for a lot of guys, they would have dwelled on that and they wouldn't have been able to come back. And he didn't dwell on it. He was able to bring that team back.
Okay. All right. We'll ask Ute his opinion too when he comes in. Stephen Vett, what surprises me is that Riley Leonard is an okay-ish QB, solid runner with so-so arm. Notre Dame could win a natty with Leonard at QB. Ohio State, I don't know if that's possible. Last night, Penn State had one fantastic rusher that had half his body working, and he still got to the quarterback. Imagine what that'll be now when they're coming off both edges with Ohio State next week. I don't know. I think this is where Notre Dame's run ends, honestly.
Having watched, one, Ohio State's got to beat Texas. We can't overlook Texas.
It's going to happen.
Texas,
it's going to happen.
Texas is a legitimate team, so we're not going to overlook Texas. But in watching that game last night, what kind of struck me as odd was the interior of the defensive line for Penn State got pushed around quite a bit.
Yeah.
The defensive tackles. So, those edge rushers were coming off the edge, and Leonard was easily able to step up into a pocket, get a running lane, throw the ball, because they were getting push on those defensive tackles. So I think whoever ends up playing them in the next playoff game, the championship game, is going to have to get some push in the center of that line.
Fair. Rock and Rant, Riley Leonard is not a great quarterback, but he's an excellent football player. I think that's a good assessment.
And there's been lots of championship teams with just okay quarterbacks.
Right. And I was just going to say, I think it was interesting when he went out when his head got hit and the other guy came in, he was throwing BBs at the end of the first half. He got him 3 points and kept him in the game. And I was really impressed with that backup guy. He didn't look scared at all. You would imagine a guy who hadn't played in the playoffs at all to just walk in off the street and to play that well, even for a short stretch. That really saved the game for Notre Dame.
Yeah, Angeli. The guy's name is Angeli in Notre Dame.
Yeah, he would have been the starter, right? If Leonard hadn't come in, he was the anticipated starter.
And he'll probably be the starter next year.
Okay. All right. Big Lubbock, Bama hates the Horns as Bama would have made the playoffs if Texas was still in the Big 12. Yeah, that's probably true. Look, it's not the time. This is not the show to talk about this, but NIL has broken the stranglehold that the SEC has had on talent. That safe is now wide open, and the horses have left the burning barn, and they're not coming back. Players are going where they want to be more than ever, and usually where they want to be is willing to pay them to be there. So the crowing from every other conference will continue to grow, including the Big Ten, and the SEC will continue to complain. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Let's see here. Illini Ted, Leonard showed a lot of moxie in that second half. I wasn't even sure he was going to be able to play after that possible concussion near the end of the first half. Can I ask you an honest question, Moen?
Yeah.
Do you think he had a concussion?
I think he definitely had something.
He started to go to the wrong sideline.
Well, and the refs looked at him, and the refs looked in his eyes and said, "Go to the side."
Yeah, I don't know. So I thought him coming back out, I think, was iffy.
Yeah, once a ref can look in your eyes and see that glassed over, glazed look, I think that's.
Yeah. Let's see here. Immaculate says that QB is undergoing surgery and not taking part in any of the fall off-season practices. Who's he talking about?
He's probably talking about that transfer from Auburn that Iowa picked up.
Oh, Iowa. Okay, very good.
Hank,
I lost track.
I forget his last name. Hank something.
Okay. All right, very good. Just so everybody knows, we want you to keep voting. If you haven't voted, we're currently asking the poll question: is Texas or is Ohio State going to win this game tonight? We've got the picks are in. We're going to talk about those as soon as Ute gets here. But in the meantime, there were a couple news items that I wanted to run by you. First of all, Moen, this idea that people woke up overnight and realized James Franklin said it out loud, said the quiet part out loud that you and I have known for decades, honestly, that Notre Dame has an unfair advantage in everything they do. And it's not about how much money they're cashing checks, right? It's not about they were brave new world and they took a chance to stay independent. That storyline is so broken. Notre Dame knew exactly what they were doing. They have the same voting power as an entire conference as associates with the college football playoff, and then all the rules put around college football right now. Notre Dame it's an island unto itself. It's just a nice byproduct that now they're winning money because they're actually being competitive in the CFP. What do you think about this narrative that popped out just in the last 48 hours that says, "Oh wait a second, I'm going to tear sheets asunder and bail at the moon because all of a sudden I realized Notre Dame has an easier path maybe to the playoff and also is making more money than my school."
Well, here's the thing. If you're doing that, did you not have an understanding of how the college football playoff was going to work?
I don't think they did, Bowen. I don't.
They must not have, because this was a possibility. I mean, it wasn't like there was fine print that somebody overlooked. This was always a possibility. The part I disagree with Notre Dame, if Notre Dame wants to stay independent, all for it. All for it. Stay independent if you want to. I disagree with the payout level. I think that you should take it as if it's a 16-team conference like everybody else does.
Yes.
And cut it down to that.
I agree.
So you would say, what is the winning payout for a team in the Big Ten? It's X number of dollars. That's what Notre Dame gets for winning the first one. You go to the next round of the playoff. What's the average payout for 16 teams in the SEC?
Yep.
That would be what you would give to Notre Dame. I think it is not right, but it's not like it was unknown.
Right.
Jack Swarbrick basically helped create this entire system. He wasn't creating this entire system to screw over Notre Dame. He was doing this entire system to benefit Notre Dame. So you can't be shocked when they end up benefiting from it.
And on that same point, let's clarify a couple things. It's not just the money, right? They also have they have to play one less game because they don't have a championship game to work around, or even a semifinal championship game to work around. And they do an independent schedule. So their schedule, I think their strength of schedule this year ended up being somewhere around 68 to 70. Everybody else that's in the finals way above that, right? Because they play in these more difficult conferences. BYU played a more difficult conference schedule than Notre Dame did. And I think somehow, some way, James Franklin picked the rock up and put a little sunshine on it, but it really needs to be torn asunder. And everybody needs to understand extremely every step that Notre Dame, how they participate in all of college football and the power that they actually retain. It's not just about money. It's not just about the independence and their access. It's not just about their voting. It's all those things together and the advantages that brings. People get caught up in the money part of it. I think that's just a byproduct of the access. And not having to play that extra game, honestly, is probably the biggest determining factor. They have a bye game. They have a bye week without needing a bye week. They don't have to win a conference tournament because they don't need that additional bye week because they're getting it because they're not playing in a conference tournament.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you can't make an argument that Notre Dame doesn't have it easier than anybody in an A4 conference. They do. It's just the nature of the beast. You're right. They play 5 ACC games. And this year they had Florida State. Historic down year for Florida State.
Oh, yeah, beyond historic. Yeah.
And absolutely. I mean, down year for the ACC in general. The ACC did not have a lot of success this year. So it was a down year for the ACC. Okay, you've got 5 games in a down year for that conference. And then you get to schedule your own games. And it caught them this year because they scheduled Northern Illinois. That was one of the cupcakes they scheduled, and Northern Illinois beat them. But that's what they do. They schedule a lot of cupcakes. The Marshall, and now in previous years they've lost to those cupcakes, but we got to give them credit. This year they scheduled against Texas A&M. They had Texas A&M to start off their season. Last year they had Ohio State to start off their season. They do keep the rivalry with USC, which, it depends on what year it is for USC, whether they're up and down. Whether or not that continues, I think that might change. But, but Notre Dame has an advantage. I mean, I don't even think Notre Dame fans would disagree with that.
No, I think look, let's just say it like it is. It's not about Notre Dame thinking that they're getting something special or not. They already know they are. The shock and dismay that we're seeing, though, is what's out of control. It's like people all of a sudden woke up and realized, hey, wait a second, Notre Dame is still active in college football, and they have all of these advantages built in. And then they're looking around saying, is that fair? You and I both know fair isn't part of this, but that's what other people are saying. In my opinion, if BYU could get away with those same advantages, of course I'd want them to. There's absolutely no question that I would want those advantages. You would want them for Ohio State. So it's silly to say, well, wait a second, they're now in this, and wait a second, why are they getting all these extra things when we all knew that was going to be that way anyway? And the other thing I would add is that it's not about forcing them into a conference. I don't care if they're in a conference permanently. What I care about is that they're competing for a conference championship. So they don't have to be part of the ACC. I don't care if you dive in and put all your other controls into the ACC, but make them compete for the ACC championship. And now all of a sudden things look a little bit different. Because now
that's true, but that is unfair to the other teams in the ACC.
Why?
Because Notre Dame plays 5 ACC games, they play 8.
Well, but you just said the ACC was down this year. Were those extra 3 games that much of a difference?
Hey, that can matter in conference play.
Maybe.
Funny things happen in conference play. How about
baby steps? Let's do baby steps.
Yeah, but funny things happen in conference play. Ask Ohio State. Conference play, lost to Michigan.
The other thing I would say on that same tack, fine, don't make them join the ACC, although I think in their contract there is something that if they did join something, it had to be the ACC. But we'll talk about that in the offseason. The other part of that is do away with the Notre Dame access advantage. Make them compete for the G6 spot. Have them be on their own and have them compete for the G6 spot, and now you only have 5 guaranteed spots. Everything else goes to other teams.
Let me get that blur to clear up. But but then you're being
all of a sudden.
You're being unfair to G6 teams.
Why?
Now you're getting a G6 team left out because Notre Dame.
Well, but they're an independent. How are they any different than a G6 team?
Sure, but
they're playing an independent schedule, just like a G6.
Absolutely,
schedule.
But they've got a brand, and regardless of what happens, their brand is going to get them in over a Boise State.
Yeah, I just think it's wrong. Is all I'm saying. I think it's upside down.
Here's the thing: they just need to pick a conference and join. I don't care what conference it is, just pick one. And the Big Ten and the SEC, I think they're probably. Here's the thing: I think they knew this could happen. They never thought it would happen. And now that it's happening, people are losing their shit. But the SEC and Big Ten, what they need to do is just step in and stop it. And just say, hey, look, we're changing it. You don't have to be a conference member to be into the college football playoff.
Okay. A few more comments here. Let's see here. College Football Network. Are you new to the channel? Welcome. For one thing, it's great to see you. Nice to meet you. Hello to you too. Make sure you subscribe and follow us on Twitter and turn on those notifications so you know when we're doing our shows in the future. But it's good to see you. Welcome to the show. Immaculate says IO. WA for Iowa. Good to have you here. Again, Immaculate. Haas Outdoors and Wildlife says every CFP win for Notre Dame is a ton of money for them without a conference taking their share. Yep, we just talked about that. It is broken. We've talked about several ideas that maybe could modify that. Lower in their share to 1/16 of what it would be.
Yeah, I think
that's an idea.
That's the most fair
It's
thing as
certainly
far as
an
money.
idea I haven't heard before. I think it could work. Daniel Gygax, the contributor extraordinaire, starting to do his own member videos on the College Football Mafia Network. Good to see you, Daniel. And as long as CFP allows Notre Dame to have special relationship, nothing will change. Yeah, that's true.
I think, Daniel, that this season, this postseason, is probably going to push the SEC and Big to force that change.
So I asked somebody very important, way smarter than us, a couple of questions. So let's see. And I'm not going to tell you who, and I'm not going to tell you who gave me answers to these questions.
You
But
know who.
this is the question that I asked. I asked, in 2026, can the conferences unilaterally remove special autonomous vote from Notre Dame, or the vote that Notre Dame currently holds, or do they have to wait until 2030, the next negotiating window for the entire contract? And then at that point, they would do something with it. And I got an ambiguous answer back, which tells me I'm not sure everybody really knows.
Well,
And I think that's scary because that lack of control will lead to more concern throughout the CFP and all the member institutions. Go ahead.
Sure, but according to Greg Sankey and Tony Petiti, they believe in 2026, when the ownership shares actually change, they have the votes to basically control the college football playoff.
Okay. Yeah, I'm reading further down. I got another reply that says that's not right.
Okay. Well, that's what I read.
They might believe that, but it's the term of the entire contract with ESPN that extends.
There
to
are certain
2030,
things they can't change, but they can change them via other ways, is what I was told.
I'm saying Notre Dame's not going to lose their vote. That's what I'm saying.
They're not going to lose their vote. They're not going to
lose their vote, you can't force them to be in a conference or any of those other things.
Well,
because they'll just veto them.
They can, but I think in 2026, at least Sankey and Petiti believe they have a 57% ownership, I think, versus the other 9, if you include Notre Dame's independent status as a vote. Just those two conferences have enough weight within the college football playoff structure to basically force rule changes. The only thing I think they can't get rid of is G6 access and maybe independent for Notre Dame. But again, I think you can get around that with a simple rule change.
Sorry, I'm just typing a message to follow up because I hadn't received an answer till right at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, I'll have to find the USA. I'll have to find the USA Today article that I read. So
I'm asking the God of all college football, and he's telling me that specifically, I think you're right about the money part of it. The money might be controllable, but access and their access to the overall platform of college football playoff, I don't think they can affect change. Which sucks. I want that to be right. You and I both want that to be something they can do, and I don't think it's gonna happen. Ryan Willie, $20 super chat. Thank you, Ryan. Happy New Year. Let's get him a sounder, Moen. A couple, maybe.
We'll let him cook. It's New Year. Let him cook.
Yeah,
let him cook. Let him cook now. Let him cook. I said, let him cook.
And I'm sure he's from Wisconsin. It'll involve a lot of pork and cheese. So.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it. Happy New Year to you and your family. Even though I dislike OSU, I'll chip in for Moen's after party or drown in his sorrows.
There you go.
Crown Royal. Those are expensive, aren't they?
I got this one as a gift for Christmas, so it cost me nothing.
All right. Okay. Good.
My brother and sister-in-law got me that.
Thank you so much, Ryan, for the $20 super chat. That helps us keep the lights on. January is our build month, so we really, really appreciate it and need the funding, believe it or not. Illini Ted checking in, also a member of the Mafia family, saying my bank account is pulling for OSU. What is the current spread right now, Moen? What's it grown to?
5.5 is what I laid my money on. It was 5.5.
And what is it
Ohio
now?
State. I do not know.
Check.
Earlier
I'm curious
today, it
if
was
it made
still
it to 6
well, 5.5 and 6 are the same thing.
or 6.5 then.
Yeah, I haven't seen it move to 6.5. No.
Okay. All right.
Interesting enough, the Notre Dame line did move yesterday.
Oh, really?
Notre Dame was favored in the morning, and by the afternoon, because of the influx of money, Penn State was favored by 1.
Really?
Yeah.
So when you did yours,
I did
the over or
mine.
the under?
The over under didn't matter.
Okay.
That didn't change at all. It was just originally Notre Dame was favored by 1.5 points.
Okay.
By the end of the day yesterday, before the game started, Penn State was favored by 1 point.
Okay. All right. Haas Outdoors and Wildlife, no buys, only automatic bids for conference champions. Yeah, we don't believe in buys around here. No buys, 16 teams. Seed them 1 to 16 and be done with it. Top 5 conference champions get in though, or you go to no conference champions and you go to semifinal play-in games, which also would work. Changes like that, the institutional type changes like that, have to be uniform. Everybody has to vote for them. So that probably is not going to happen in this offseason, but in 26 they could make those kind of changes if they wanted to. Nathan Campbell, Nate, could you ever see Creighton becoming a Big 12 member as basketball only? I could see Creighton, I could see Gonzaga, I could see Northeast schools. Sure, if they go to a super league for basketball and they split everything up, you bet. Do I think it's likely? No. I think Big 12 wants to stay all football. Basketball is an afterthought. But we'll know. Time will tell. Immaculate. Remember, the CFP is an LLC. If that LLC dissolves, then so do their contracts, and the LLC itself gives protection from its members being sought for damages from that happening. You want to comment on that, Mo? I don't have that.
I just want to. I'm going to quote this article I received from USA Today. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link in chat as well.
Yeah, great. That'd be awesome.
In the spring, CFP commissioners struck a new 6-year agreement that extends the CFP as an entity through the 2031 playoff. The new agreement begins in 2026. Changes to the format in the last 2 year of the original agreement. That would be this year and next year.
And next year, yep.
Requires unanimity among the 11 members of the board.
Yep.
Changes to the format starting in 2026, however, are a bit different. As part of the new 6-year extension, the conferences agreed to cede decision-making powers on format to the SEC and Big Ten. At least that's what those 2 leagues claim.
Yeah.
But with certain agreed-upon guarantees of any future format. The automatic inclusion of the 5 highest-ranked conference champions, a protection for the independent Notre Dame if school finishes high enough in committee's rankings, 3, a field of 12 or 14 teams. It does not mention G6 access in there. I have to imagine G6 access would be protected too. But, I mean, this is from USA Today. I'll let everybody else read the article as well.
Where did you post the link? Because I didn't see it pop up.
It'll pop up. There it is.
Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay.
I'm probably going to have to bit.ly the link because of how long it
is.
I'd
put it in the private chat, would you?
Yeah, I have to bit.ly it because it's
too big. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, get me the link. I'm going to send that to my overlord and see what he says. Yeah, that's obviously more context for sure. Let's see here. I had a couple others right here. Let's get Daniel Gygax. For Notre Dame to get here, they beat an 11-1 Indiana, 11-1 Georgia, and a 13-2 Penn State. If Notre Dame lost, then we can talk. But they won games. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Daniel. I never said Notre Dame shouldn't be here. Did you say that, Moen?
No, I don't think I don't have an issue with Notre Dame being there. I have an issue with the fact that, one, people act like they don't have a huge advantage in getting to the playoffs to begin with.
Which they do.
They do.
Yeah.
You're right. They beat Indiana. They beat Georgia. They beat Penn State. I mean, you can't. Games are settled on the field. Now, listen, there were extenuating circumstances in that Georgia game. They didn't have their starting quarterback, but
Yeah.
you got to play with what you got on the field. So, I mean, I'm not trying to take anything away from what Notre Dame did during the playoffs, but at the same time, we have to acknowledge that Notre Dame has an easier path to the playoffs than pretty much every other school in FBS.
Shonsky, another member of the Mafia family, checking in. BYU brother, good to see you. Notre Dame is not going to join a conference, especially now they're in the national championship game, and we can't talk weak conference for Notre Dame or schedule. Notre Dame has beaten 2 Big Ten teams. They beat them to get to it once they were in the playoff, though, Shonsky. The conversation was about getting to the playoff, right?
Well, they've actually beaten 3 Big Ten teams this year because they beat USC. But yeah, it's not the argument, Shonsky, you're making is they beat 2 teams in the college football playoff. Nobody's arguing that they beat teams in the playoff. The argument that we were trying to posit there was that they have an easier path to get there.
Yeah. I think, and we need to understand that the whole idea about getting to the playoff is just access, and that access they basically, if you look at a building and a building is structured and you have to start at the main level to get to the playoff, you have to go through, let's say, 4 levels. Everybody else has to fight through those 4 levels. Notre Dame's out here on the end with an express. And all they have to do is basically finish 11-1. Doesn't really matter who they play. Doesn't matter because there's no conference playoff. And they immediately will have access. Any 11, and I would almost say even 11-2, 10-2, any 11-1 and probably 10-2 Notre Dame gets into a playoff every year. And that's where you're looking around going, really? Alabama just got left off. Florida State got left off last year.
And
There's
listen,
big teams.
if the article's right that the Big Ten and SEC, let's just say for the sake of argument, they have the power to make these changes.
Yeah.
What's to stop them from saying you have to have an X strength of record, X strength of conference, or
nothing? They can put those rules in. They can do
that.
They
can put those rules in there, and when they do that, if Notre Dame does not have, because the ACC is in a down year and they don't, or maybe it's a good year for the ACC, but they don't play any of the good teams.
Right.
That could inhibit Notre Dame from getting to the playoffs, even as an independent.
Right. But we all know that Notre Dame's going to fight any changes tooth and nail because they love what they got right now.
Oh, sure.
So in 2026, they're going to lobby hard the Big Ten and the SEC to leave them their exemption. Absolutely. Also, Notre Dame's going to lead the 70-school Super League idea, and they're not going to let that go either.
Oh, I'm sure not. But like I said, it's not a matter of they're not going to deny them access. They're just going to backdoor them. They're going to say, look, strength of record is now something that has to be factored into the committee's decision. And if that's the case, the only way that Notre Dame's going to get their strength of record up would be to join a conference as a full member, whether it's the ACC, the Big Ten, the SEC, or the Big 12.
Any strength of record or strength of schedule change is going to kill it's going to eliminate the Boise State loophole.
It might, but I mean, if you look at, I think Boise State had a pretty good strength of schedule this year.
They were in the 60s. So, is that good? I don't know.
Well, you can just say it's exempt.
BYU was 38. So
you could just as easily say, well, we're going to put that exemption on G5 teams because G5 teams can't schedule nearly enough quality opponents as a conference team can.
It's interesting how we're talking about you do changes to affect one school, but you don't make changes to affect another. I think
but I mean that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's the SEC and Big Ten are not happy looking at Notre Dame right now.
No, they're not.
And I think they knew it was a possibility. They didn't expect they didn't anticipate that it would actually come to pass.
Agreed. Jackson Johnson, forcing Notre Dame into a conference is dumb. It's like married couple being mad at a single person for staying single. That's not a completely accurate comparison, Jackson, but I get what you're saying. We're talking about access to a club, an invitational fight, though. Not really them being in a conference is sort of beside the point. It's we need to do something to make it so that Notre Dame's climb isn't this express train that we just talked about, the express elevator to get to the top. All right. The one, the only Wild Ute has joined the party. How we doing, Ute?
Doing great. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
How was your week?
Work week was great. Happy the weekend's here and excited for the Texas-Ohio State game coming up soon. Whoa, the matchup of brands, right? Moen, how are you feeling right now? Are you feeling a little nervous about the game?
No, not particularly. Again, I've mentioned it at the beginning of the stream. I'm not overlooking Texas. I think Texas is a good team. I hope Ohio State hasn't overlooked Texas. I'd like to see them come out on fire like they have been the last 2 weeks. But I do get a little nervous that they might get too conservative, get ahead by 10 points, and then just try and rest on the defense. I think you got to get up 17, 21, 24 points before you do that.
Yeah, this game is going to be really interesting to see. Texas feels like a significant underdog. We know the betting line was like hanging out with 4.5 to 7 points over the last week, and like I don't know anybody that's picking Texas to win this game, and that's always a bit dangerous. I'm not picking Texas to win either, but like it's kind of wild how the Longhorns really have been this disrespect to go into this football game.
So let's ask you a couple questions. First of all, we have a poll running. Moen, let's wrap that poll up. Ute's in the house. Ute, we asked at the beginning to the people watching the show, who are they taking tonight? Ohio State and Texas was the choice. I predicted the split would be about 75%, 25%. Do you have a guess at what that's going to turn out to be?
85-15 Ohio State.
Okay. Moen, where'd we end up at?
87-12 Ohio State.
Wow, look at you. Very good, Ute. Well done. Well done. How about let's quickly get your feeling about the game last night. Let's run through that, and then we can jump into our picks for the Ohio State-Texas game.
I was listening to the show before I jumped on. You guys had a great conversation about Drew Aller, if he should have pushed the ball in the final possession. We talked about that on a short video last night, too.
We did.
That is the topic, really. Penn State lost this football game. Penn State was dominating the trenches. It's kind of crazy to think they even lost it. You know, they were dominating the first half and everything. Notre Dame was gritty. They came back. They got it done. But if I'm a Penn State fan, I am really, really having a hard time with this one. I don't agree with the assessment that Penn State should have just ran it out or kneeled it out with a minute left, guys. You got to play to win the game. You got to play to win the game, and like you're basically playing to lose if you're doing that. It's a minute left. You had 3 timeouts.
I hear you, but you got to remember, you play to win the game. What gives you the best probability of winning the game? Do you think you haven't
going into overtime?
you have not had a receiver catch a pass. You expect your team to drive 50 yards without a receiver catching a pass. There's no way they're going to run that entire 50 yards. There's no way that Tyler Warren is going to make play, just statistically speaking. He was double covered. Yes, he makes some tremendous plays. He can't make 4 tremendous plays in a row. It's just the better probability is let the clock run out, go to overtime. You get to start from the 25-yard line. Your run game's going good. You're dominating in the trenches. You have a better chance to win in overtime. Yes, he didn't expect them to throw an interception, but that's what happens when the ball is in your territory and you're trying to force the ball downfield.
That's the difference between like great teams, great players, and not, right? I mean, like you recruit a kid like Drew Aller, a 5-star stud, to make that type of drive. just recruit him to sit on the ball with 3 timeouts and a minute left. I want my 5-star quarterback showing he's got it. Show me you're a pro quarterback. Show me you can go get in the field goal range. We're not even asking for a touchdown here.
Not one
yards.
pass to a wide receiver, Not
Yes.
one.
I cannot
pass to a
believe
wide
that's still.
receiver. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a machine gun with no bullets. There's no receivers out there to catch the ball. What do you want? He's a 5-star quarterback, great, but if he doesn't have anybody out there to catch the ball other than Tyler Warren, I don't know. It's just, it doesn't make sense to me that you're going to say, I got a 5-star quarterback, go out there and win it. Well, I don't have any receivers.
So let's clear
How
this
am I
up
going to
really
get the ball
quick.
down the field?
So let's clear this up really quick. I vote for playing for overtime. I believe that's where Moen's at. Are you saying you would have liked to have had a different play call for Penn State, but you would have pushed for the field goal at the end of the game?
I would have absolutely pushed the football, guys.
Okay.
Every single time.
Okay.
I never would sit on it. You've got 3 timeouts. You're on a first down. Like, you cannot just sit on the game like that, because then all of a sudden the narrative that if Penn State would have lost that game into overtime, they would have killed them for doing it.
Right.
So you're going to – Franklin would be under more heat if he didn't try to push the ball, I think, and they lost in overtime. Because that's a golden opportunity.
I don't know. They had a great running back and a fantastic tight end. They don't need a wide receiver 25 yards in.
Notre Dame was wearing Penn State out, though. It was happening in the second half and stuff. They dominated the first half and everything. Notre Dame started competing in the trenches. What changes in overtime? Why is it all of a sudden just because you can run the football again without having to worry about the clock?
Yeah, that would be my idea. Yeah.
Notre Dame started to win the trench battle as the game went on, which is so crazy because the flu and everything going on in their locker room. I just think that it would have been coaching suicide to sit on the ball. I think the fireable offense, sitting on the ball and losing.
What was it? There was only 45 seconds left, and the ball was at the 20-yard line. He needed to go.
Pulling that clip up again. Look at that clip.
That pass was horrible, That pass was absolutely horrible.
Yeah, the pass was absolutely horrible, but diagnosing exactly what happened on that route.
You can bring it up. We'll get back to that. You bring and cue it up. We're going to get to our picks right now, okay?
Okay.
Let's finish this out just so we can get to Q&A, which is what everybody's here for anyway. So these were our picks going into this weekend. Obviously, Notre Dame won. Thank you very much. Penn State lost. Sorry, Moen. Sorry, Pickles. Sorry, Becky. Any final comments about that game? No, I think we finished that out. Okay, Ohio State. Everybody took Ohio State, so we're all winners. Moen, explain to us why Ohio State wins this game.
It's an indoor on turf. I think that benefits Ohio State, obviously, with the receivers. Better receiver core. I think probably the best receiving core Texas has seen this year. I think they've got a good defense. I think they're going to use kind of the same plan that Georgia did to beat them twice this year. They're just going to dominate them on defense and score enough points. I think they win by 2 touchdowns.
Okay, 2 touchdowns. Wow. What do you think?
I was feeling great about Ohio State all week long, and I still feel great about Ohio State. I think Ohio State does win by 2 touchdowns. It's kind of crazy that Moen. I was almost shocked when Moen said that. That I'm like, yeah, it's right.
He's feeling his juices right now. Yeah,
he's feeling his juices, but I don't know why you wouldn't be confident if you're Ohio State. You really do have the better squad going into this football game. You've got more momentum. Texas looked like a beaten team, just like a physically beaten team last week. But I mean, hey, if no one's giving them a shot to win, and you're the Texas Longhorns, you're one of the most talented teams in the country, that's dangerous. When you have an animal like that and no one's given a chance for really no reason outside of having a close game versus Arizona State, it's that's scary. I don't know. That's the big X factor in this game and stuff, just the disrespect factor. But I'm not betting against Ohio State in this football game. I think they get it done. I think they score a lot of points.
Something I'll give you my pick. Something I did not know that Moen just educated me on was they're playing on turf. And he said he thinks that advantage goes to Ohio State. I would that tempers my choice of Ohio State just a little bit. I think they only win by maybe 8 points instead of 14. But The one thing Texas has the speed on the outside. Quinn Ewers has the ability to stretch the field, and if he gets the time to basically play like a post-up quarterback, somebody drop 3 steps and rifle it downfield, they have the capacity to score some points. Now, can the defense hold up against Ohio State's currently amazing offense? Probably not. But I think that speed that Moen's talking about might actually work against them and to Texas's benefit. I didn't know it was indoors. I certainly didn't know it was on turf. So I would just tell everybody to watch that. That's something to keep your eye on.
And watch something else too. If Texas loses this football game, there will be a short video coming out later tonight about the SEC that you're not going to want to miss, guys. I'm serious. Like, this is a huge game for the SEC reputation, perception. And if they lose this football game and they get bounced from the championship after 2 consecutive years, after all the bragging, after all the squawking,
Right.
there is going to be some heck to pay tonight in the video. So stay tuned.
Right after the game tonight, check back here, College Football Mafia Network, and that's why turning on your notifications and following us on Twitter and subscribing on YouTube is such a big deal, because you will get notified when we do these one-off immediate reaction type videos. If you don't do that, you won't know when we're on, and you might possibly miss some very good content. So watch for that. You did a fantastic one last night, and if the SEC loses tonight, I think you'll sort of love to put that video together. All right. Anything else about this game before we get to Q&A? Go ahead.
I just want to correct you. People aren't just judging Texas based on the Arizona State game. You have to look at their entire season. They played what is a relatively soft schedule in the SEC. The 2 times they did get defeated were by Georgia.
Yeah.
A Georgia team that was not at the top of their game this year that won the SEC. But Georgia pretty much dominated them. And that's the same Georgia team that got blown out by Alabama. So I think there's a full resume of things you've got to look at. As unfair as it is, you could say, well, that was early in the season. They lost to Georgia. They looked better in the championship game against Georgia. But Ohio State's going to be judged on the fact they lost to Michigan.
Yeah.
I think you have to look at the full resume before you start judging people. And I think that's why a lot of people are looking at Texas and kind of giving them the cold shoulder, because Ohio State, outside of that Michigan loss, they've looked really good.
Well,
They have.
Their dismantling of Oregon was something else. Nobody saw it coming.
That was wild to see.
It was absolutely insane. Yeah.
Texas, though, when's the last time Texas came into a big game like this, big underdog?
Vince Carter.
We're talking about Vince Young.
Vince Young.
2005.
Well,
they won the championship, right?
Yeah,
like, I'm just saying that, like, Texas guys, like, this is the Texas Longhorns with one of the most talented rosters in college football. They're in the Final Four. They've won playoff games now, like multiple games now. This is not going to be a pushover. This is going to be a much tougher game than Ohio State had versus in the first 2 games, right? This is a tough matchup, and Texas could certainly win this football game. It's not like even in our polls in our community, like I'm saying 85-15, like, and I'm kind of feeling that cocky too. Like, hey, Ohio State's got this. I'm 85% confident. That's probably not realistic, though. I think that's just like our perception based on what we think momentum is. But I think on the field today, it's going to be more like a 55-45 game.
All right. All right, let's slip right in. Just so everybody knows, we got about a half hour. We're going to do our world famous College Football Mafia Q&A. You're all invited to participate. We've been marking comments all through the show. Continue to do those. They're obviously free. Let us know what you're thinking and kind of ideas you're got going in your heads about this coming game tonight. And then also looking ahead to where we're going to be for college football. Any questions you want to talk about, realignment or otherwise, we are here for those. If you want your comment to be read, guaranteed it'll have to be a super chat. We're already up to 30 comments we've already flagged, so to get through those is going to take a little while, but continue to leave them. Super chats will always be read, and then we do defer to member comments. All right, let's jump right into these so we don't lose any more time. Glenn Hanna, is that Puss? I'm not sure. Glenn Hanna, good to see you. Oregon fan, I'm guessing. Oh, the pain of watching my team get hit by a train. Yeah, Oregon. Wow.
Yeah, Texas cannot afford to let Ohio State come out and get a hot start tonight.
No.
If Ohio State comes out and gets a big start and they're loose like that, that is going to be bad news for Texas.
Yeah, I agree. Oregon,
Texas has played Will Howard too. Sorry to jump in here.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Will Howard has played in the Big 12. They know how to play Will Howard. This is not a new quarterback they're matching up with. I mean,
right.
This is Texas sneaky in this game. I'm feeling a little bit more like uncomfortable the more I think about this and stuff.
Well, the speed on the edges is what I keep going back to in my head. So we'll see. Hello, college football fan. Good to have you here. Make sure you subscribe. Both you and Glenn Hanna, make sure you guys are subscribing and becoming frequent viewers. We really appreciate you being here tonight. I think Ohio State needs a good start. So he's saying he thinks Ohio State needs to have a good start to really take this game by the throat. Is that what you think, Moen?
Yeah, look at what happened to Tennessee and Oregon. If you give them an early start and just let them keep firing on all cylinders, getting some confidence, bad news for Texas if that happens.
Very good. Shonsky, another member of the Mafia family, receivers, running backs, blah, blah, blah. If Texas gets in Will Howard's head at all, Texas wins. There you go, Ute. That's what Shonsky's thinking.
Shonsky's thinking the same thing.
Yes, he is. He's following your
overconfidence.
Ohio State should be feeling confident going in. No, there's no doubt about it. Harry Austin, good to see you, Harry. It's always great to see you in the house. Hello, Bomber and Moen and Colorado hater, Wild Ute.
I can't say I've ever heard a Colorado hater. I've heard a Colorado lover and milker of Colorado, but that's the first time I've actually been called a Colorado hater. So
we didn't touch on it earlier, but there was that little hint that Dion said the only reason I would leave Colorado would be to coach my kids.
Yeah.
That was shocking, right? Because originally, like me, I thought he would be done after 2 years. He would have moved on already. Then he went and recruited the best quarterback in the country for 2025, and everybody turned their heads saying, oh, maybe we were wrong, including me. And then he comes out a week after their bowl loss, and he's like, he's looking around at these NFL jobs. He's going, I don't know, right? What do you guys think about that? Did that strike you the same way? And do you guys think there's any chance that Dion might leave after the NFL playoffs are over?
There's a good chance that Dion might leave. I think you're onto something there. Why would he even speak of it if he wasn't?
Right. Why even open the door?
Like, it just brings uncertainty. So I wouldn't put the chalk on that, but like it's 25-30%.
That's pretty high, I think.
I think so.
High.
I mean, this is the time frame we always talked about. Like after this season ended, and after Shedeur left, Shiloh left, they would go to pro, and if he can get matched up with Shedeur as his quarterback in the NFL, he's going to want to do it.
So, do you guys know? Maybe this is for a different time, but we need to know who owns the top 5 picks, because whoever owns the top 5 picks. And they fired their coach, right? That would be the other piece. Dion comes in, he gets Shedeur, and he later rounds drafts his other son, right? And then takes pieces of that team and trades for Travis Hunter. That is not impossible. That could happen.
Yeah, I think this is more of a case of he just wants to be wanted.
Yeah, sure, that's fair. Sure.
It kind of builds his ego up. Hey, NFL, I'm going to talk to him.
He might be asking for a raise too. Rick, right.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think he's leaving Colorado. I just think it's more of a he wants to be wanted. It kind of boosts his ego a little bit.
Dion's got the biggest ego in the world outside of LeBron James, and I think that he definitely could see himself coaching his kids in the NFL.
Check it out, guys. So looking at the NFL draft order here. So
yeah, what is it?
Tennessee number 1. Okay.
They lost their coach.
And then we've got the Browns number 2.
They're going to fire their coach.
This just makes so much sense. Go ahead.
Tennessee didn't fire their coach.
They did. I swear they did. They didn't?
I don't believe so. I believe Arthur Smith is still the coach there.
I thought maybe they fired their general manager then.
Maybe.
So we got Tennessee, number 1, number 2, the Browns, number 3.
Browns.
The New York Giants. Doesn't that just make sense for Dion? The New
Knows,
York market.
I'm telling you,
Man,
it's too freaky to not be a possibility. I know New England did. New England fired their coach. I thought Tennessee did, so maybe I'm wrong there. Stefanski hasn't been fired in Cleveland yet, but I think if they could get Dion and Shedeur or Travis, I think they would do that if they thought that they could get both of them.
like, think about Dion and where he'd fit, though. Like, he's never going to fit with the Titans or the Browns. That's just not who he is. The Giants,
The
yes.
Patriots,
The
he
Raiders, yes. Patriots, yes.
Patriots,
for sure.
absolutely, he does.
And the Raiders, that is crazy.
Oh, the Raiders is another one. The
Yeah.
Raiders
Well,
absolutely could do that.
The Giants aren't going to fire Brian Dabble.
No, probably
so-
not. They had a chance and they didn't do it. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, if Dion's, I don't know, guys. Like, New York makes a
Jacksonville?
lot of sense for Sanders.
Jacksonville?
Some of these teams can trade up too. I mean, it's not beyond the realm of possibility
true.
someone going up and trading to get into the number 1.
Well, Jacksonville, say the Patriots didn't think Shedeur was the guy. They could possibly trade out.
Jacksonville would probably be the best bet.
Jacksonville's another fit, I think.
Yeah,
They would need to
it's
trade out.
Florida,
Cowboys,
Shedeur,
obviously.
though.
Cowboys are sitting at 12. Like, you'd have to trade up to get Shedeur.
The Cowboys that's another one. He hasn't been fired yet either. All right. This was a nice
Crazy.
trip down NFL lane. When we get closer to the draft, we'll have more fun with that. But anyway, I'm just letting everybody know Dion opened that up, and we'll have to see where that plays out. I apologize for getting distracted. Okay. Friends call me Sean. Good to see you, Sean. Let's go, you fighting Moans. All right, Moan, you got people cheering for you.
All right. Well, now that you've said it, friends call me Sean. I'm ready to run through a brick wall. I'm going to hit the plane right after I get off the show and head right down to Dallas, Fort Worth.
Okay.
And
All right.
watch how people don't know how to drive in the snow down in the South. So,
Jordan, good to see you, Jordan. Welcome to the show. That's what scares me as a Buckeye fan too. I'm not sure what he was talking about
like,
there.
just the utter, if you want to call it disrespect, disregard is probably
about
a better word
Texas?
for Texas.
Yeah.
Like, you're
Listen,
like
that's-
talking about one of the biggest brand in the college football as far as
Yeah.
worth goes, Texas.
Yeah.
And they're just like, it's like nothing. Like, they're not even considered to win this game at all. It's wild.
I think that's among fans. That's among talking heads. I think the team is focused. I think Ryan Day's focused. I don't think he's going to let them just think they're going to go in there and walk over.
Well, I'm praying for Ohio State. I want them to win. Ohio State, Notre Dame will break the internet. That's all I'm saying.
Mhm.
Replica, good to see you, Replica. Another valuable member, long-term member, OG member of the Mafia Nation. Good to have you here. Franklin should have used one of his 3 timeouts so Kodal Nicky could draw something up. He's the offensive coordinator. Also, how does a school like Penn State not have receivers who can separate? Yeah, that in the offseason, their receivers coach going to get fired.
Well, they did bring in a receiver in the portal, Julian Fleming from Ohio State, former 5-star, who just never lived up to his potential at Ohio State, and
That's crazy.
he never got anything going at Penn State either. So
I don't know what to say about that.
Let's watch the play. Let's watch.
Go ahead.
the
Yeah,
play.
put the play up.
Hey,
You got it up.
if it's too small, just let me know. But we'll see.
Well,
if
here,
it's
no,
too
I'll
big.
do.
Okay.
No, sorry, I came off you there. Let's do
All
this.
right, here we go. I slowed this down, guys. So it's on. This is on 2.5 times speed, so we can
Okay.
really get. Let's break it down, okay?
Okay.
All right. So look at this, like a slow mo. Okay, Aller's stepping back. He's throwing into double coverage right there. There's nobody open. He's thinking some pressure's coming his face. He releases the ball, so no sack. Ball's coming out. Man, this
That's
bad
not
pass.
a throw you make at
It's
the
a
end of
bad
the game.
pass. Because the pressure was getting to him. He didn't
Yeah,
want to
you
take a
eat
sack.
it. You eat it and play for overtime.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. That'll live in infamy for a while for Penn State. They had a chance to win it and lost. Michael Smith, good to see you, Michael. Welcome back. Welcome to the show. It's been maybe a few days or episodes since we've seen you. Good to have you here. Penn State has to be missing independence. are they ever going to tire of living in the shadows? Penn State, the ever and forever third place team of the Big Ten, now with Oregon, they have been demoted to the fourth best team in the Big Ten. How long does Franklin have?
Man, I don't think it's that dire for Penn State. I mean, they were in the Final Four, guys. They won a playoff game. That's
They
the
won a
biggest
Rose
game in
Bowl.
Franklin's. Thanks, Moan. Yeah, they did win a Rose Bowl.
In fine fashion. Yeah, they did. That's true.
So Penn State, I mean, look, I know they haven't won a national championship, but they were right there. It's the beginning of the national title game. This is the best they've performed at this level for a long, long time. So I would invest more into Penn State football than Oregon football at the moment. But Oregon's, they're hot and everything. But, guys, Oregon had a colossal fail this year by not getting it done.
Yep.
Like, this was the shot.
Yeah. Sergeant Pickles, contributor extraordinaire in the house. Good to see you, Pickles. Evening all, pulling for the Buckeyes because the SEC losing is almost comical at this point. A lot of people thinking that, Pickles. There's no doubt about it. Mr. Ed Wayner, another valuable member of the Mafia family. Good to see you, Ed. I hope my prediction of Ohio State bad Notre Dame happens. If it does, Moen will drink after the national championship. I'm victory or in despair.
I think he's saying I would drink in victory or in despair.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, I only drink on holidays, 7 major holidays, guys. Sunday through Saturday.
Okay. We've got about 15 minutes. If you want to get your comment in at this point, everybody, it'll have to be a super chat. I think we've got enough flag to get to the end of the show without any super chat comments. We'll go from there. Clint Moses.
Yeah, can we go back to that Penn State comment real quick?
Well, you can talk about it.
I can talk about it just briefly.
Go ahead.
Listen, I've said it all season. I don't think Franklin's the guy to get him to the mountaintop, but he did a hell of a job in the playoffs, guys. He took Oregon in the championship game. It was just a one-score game. He got his team into the playoffs. They won 2 games. They were a bad decision away from winning and going to the national championship. So I don't think Penn State has any regrets about not being independent. They've done a good job in the Big Ten. Again, like I said, just a couple years ago, they went to a Rose Bowl game. Look it up. Watch the highlights. Fantastic game. I highly recommend it.
Man, you're just stomping on Ute's neck right there. Clint Moses, Oregon State checking in. Always kind to the Mafia Nation, Clint Moses is. Wild Ute, where's my diploma?
Your diploma, Clint. Did you have a chance to watch the G5 viewership analysis? You're going to need that information before you take
you got to become a member to watch
That's right.
Video, Clint. Come on, become a member.
Check it out. It's a good question, though, and I think that we'll have a level 1 degree here of 10 questions you need to answer right to get the diploma. We'll put that together in the off season. Realignment-related questions, and you got to answer them all right if you want your diploma.
There you go. And to do that, you're going to have to watch those membership videos.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Michael Smith, this is all giving me 1970 vibes when Texas and Ohio State prematurely crowned themselves national champions. I was like 0 years old. I was like 3 months old when that came about, so I can't tell you what that was like. Moen, do you know what that experience was like from the history books?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I have no idea what that was like.
Okay. Clint Moses again saying BYU misses being independent and on the easy track. That is absolutely not true. Nobody has the same advantages that Notre Dame was. They are the exception. I posted this on Twitter for those that follow me on Twitter. To even begin to consider becoming independent, you have to be willing to invest $100 million just to start independence, just to put up the shingle, I'm independent. That doesn't include paying people to schedule games to play with you. Doesn't include all the additional travel expenses you have to put in to be independent. The organization, $100 million just to put the shingle up. So how many schools can do that? Less than 20. Just saying. Just saying. Shonsky, I understand that argument. If it's so easy or easier, then go independent and go to the national championship like Notre Dame is being independent. Go Ohio State ? I'm not sure.
So Ohio State, why don't you go independent and
Oh,
get into
okay.
the playoff every year
I got you.
like Notre
Okay.
Dame?
Understood. Okay. Glenn Hanna again. I do like conferences getting a spot in the playoff. If they don't belong, they'll get destroyed on the field, and we don't have to listen to the could have been champs, but they didn't put us in argument. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mom, what is this mowing? This surprises me.
Hey,
Oh,
hey.
brother.
We gifted 5 memberships to the College
Woo!
Football Mafia family, but YouTube chat timed out, and I can't see who got those memberships.
Oh boy.
So,
Oh boy.
if you're
You
one
had
of those
one
5
job.
people, welcome to the College Football Mafia family. You can now go watch that Wild Ute University video.
Boy.
I don't know who you are, but I hope you do enjoy that membership.
Yeah, just click on the main page, go to the membership tab on the main College Football Mafia page, and you can see those membership videos. Also, if you received a membership, consider giving somebody else one, paying it forward. Not only is it good luck, I do believe in karma. You will have good things come back to you, but it helps us spread the message. And as we go into the off season, this is when we're going to grow back. So appreciate everybody that received those. Make sure you give thanks to Moen for those. I appreciate you, Moen, putting that out there.
I'll get those names here in a minute.
Okay. Haas Outdoors and Wildlife. Texas defense didn't impress me, but I did watch them during the but I didn't watch them during the season. I watched Texas play Georgia twice. Does that count?
That counts.
That counts. That's what's crazy. That's what everybody's colored with Texas, is those 2 losses to Georgia.
They had a good performance versus Texas A&M.
Yeah, but Texas A&M, I think we found out at the end of the season, was a little overrated.
Yeah, it could be.
You guys ready?
Yeah, please.
Dallas Marquez, Mick Stevens, Braska Rascal, Morris Simmons, Sam 8911 SK. You were all gifted memberships to the College Football Mafia family.
Yes,
By
sir.
the College Football Mafia. Make sure you thank us in chat. If you did receive a free membership, consider paying that forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, college football fan. Los Buckeyes are in a zone, but Coach Sark did win an MVP of the Cotton Bowl back in the day. Yes, he did. Beat Kansas State 1996, playing for my BYU Cougars. Hello, college football fan knows his history. Daniel Gygax, problem with strength of record is scheduling is done years in advance. If you have schools with a down year, it will ruin a chance at the CFP. Indiana played last season national champs and runner-up this year. They ended up 11-2. Nothing to hang their heads about. I completely agree with you, Daniel. A couple more comments in here before we start to talk about getting out. Immaculate, before he left, said SEC and Big both have 29% ownership each for a combined ownership piece of a 58%. This is of the college football playoff, which gives them a majority vote. What's ambiguous, and I ask again, the OG, the god of all things, college football and media values, they're not sure what that vote actually can get them. It's ambiguous. And until they try to exercise those votes, nobody knows what it could be. We're all guessing. So most people believe Notre Dame's not going to be changing. They're not going to do anything to them at all, which is crazy to me. But whatever. Let's see. Last couple more comments. Jackson Johnson. Although if Notre Dame has to join a conference, I want it to be the Big Ten, so they can play Michigan and Michigan State annually again. Boy, I remember those years in the 80s and 90s. They played the toughest schedules around. Notre Dame did.
Yeah. The Big Ten's the logical place for Notre Dame. They're not going to end up in the SEC. They're not going anywhere else. They're not going to the ACC. There's no chance they fully commit to play football in the ACC. So it's Big Ten or independence, or their alternative, and that's Project Rudy, which we'll get into at some other time.
Yes, not tonight. We don't want to upset Moen tonight. Last comment from Bob Swinger. Great show, guys. Got to run. Going to watch the game with a friend of mine who happens to be a Notre Dame fan. All right. Have fun at your show tonight, Bob. Any last words? Ute first. Any last words as we go into this last semifinal weekend?
Big game for the SEC. It really is. Like, I think the story is going to be more about the SEC than the Big Ten after this game. Really do think that Ohio State is the true favorite in it, but it's weird the disregard for Texas. That's all I'll say about that. But, like, if the SEC loses this game, the narrative will start immediately after the game that the SEC is not only down, but they've lost a step, and the Big Ten's caught them. And watch this channel for a video that gets right into it, because there's going to be a blastoid coming for the SEC if they lose.
Moen.
I hope there's a good game tonight. I hope Ohio State wins by 2 touchdowns. I hope the over comes in. I hope all the pets that are out there, people bring them inside during the winter. It's cold out there. Don't leave your pets out in the cold. And I hope for world peace too. And if you're not watching the game live, cruise on over to our friend Greg Flugar's channel, College Football Peek around the corner.
Yes.
Enjoying the watch party over there.
One other thing that I forgot at the very beginning of the show, and I wanted to get this out earlier, and I actually forgot, so I apologize. Prayers out for everybody in California.
Oh, yeah.
Our great friend and contributor and partner, really, to help us keep our channel going, Rock and Rant, lives not far from where these fires are currently still going in LA. And the devastation, it's ironic. PBS put out a special about the Hawaii fire that came out last year. That special report on PBS Frontline came out Tuesday night this week as the greatest fire since the Chicago fire and the San Francisco fire, the biggest loss of life and all these other things. The very next day this LA fire hits. The timing is eerie, and many prayers out for those people that have lost everything. Doesn't matter what the value of the house is, your social strata, it's devastating what these fires are doing. And I just want you to know you have my personal prayers and concern. And I think I can speak for the rest of College Football Mafia Network family. If there's something you need, reach out to us and we'll see what we can do to help you. Anything else, Moen? Anything else, you?
Go
Okay.
Utes. Go Bucks.
We'll go Bucks. We'll leave on that. Everybody have a great night, safe weekend, and do what you can. Hug your loved ones. And if you get that prompting to give your friend a call that you haven't talked to for a while, please do that. It's better to just send a chat and let people know that they matter to you in your life than you might ever know in your own. Other than that, we're going to check out of here. Appreciate everybody. Our next show will be what? Sunday night, Moen?
Sunday night at 7 o'clock, Moen After Dark.
7 p.m. Eastern. And Ute, your next short will be?
To be determined. Might be sooner than you expect.
All right, everybody, subscribe. Make sure you follow us. Turn on those notifications so you know when that show comes around. Everybody else, have a great night and stay out of trouble. Peace. You're gone. Bye-bye.